welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to learn the thumb slapping technique, which is a pretty cool one, quite an impressive one as well. I touched on it very briefly in my Sorry Not Sorry guitar lesson, but I didn't really go into much detail. I had, I think it was Serena, asked you know, how to go about this technique, so I thought rather than fit it in that video I'd make a separate lesson here, which will hopefully give you the basics of how to use it. Good news is it's not a super hard technique, but like anything on the guitar you do need to persevere with it. I remember when I first started to do it I was sort of whacking the guitar, I don't know what I was doing, but it didn't sound very good. All you're doing, and I'll do a close up in a sec, but for now I'll do it from this angle, is hitting, if you see this part of your thumb, okay? All you're doing is hitting that part of your thumb against the low E string. And what it does is it makes a pretty cool little noise. So the motion that you're making with your hand, it's kind of just a twisting motion. So you're not sort of moving your hand like this onto the strings. All it is a quick flick of the wrist. Well, it's not even your wrist, it's your whole forearms moving. Like that. Okay, so now we've got a close up. So as I showed you before, all we're doing is moving our whole forearm really. And the part that's hitting into the low E string here is just this little side knuckle part of our thumb. So this little part here. Now, it doesn't sound too impressive by itself, but once you add in a few chords and a few notes, it sounds a bit better than that. With any new technique, it's not something you're going to learn overnight, but if you follow these exercises, even if you follow these exercises 10 minutes a day, you know, within a week, 2 weeks, you're gonna see pretty reasonable improvement with your thumb slapping. So the first exercise, all we're going to do is play an A minor chord. Okay? And what we're going to do, we're going to have our thumb on the A string. And then we're going to use our index finger and our middle finger, and we're going to put them on the B string and the G string. Thumb, then skip a string, index finger on the G string, middle finger on the B string. We're going to pluck it, and then we're going to slap. Then we're going to move on to an E minor chord. So we're going to use our thumb on the E string, then we're going to leave the A string, we're going to put our first finger on the D string, and finally our middle finger, we're just going to put that on the G string. Okay? And all we're going to do is do the exact same thing that we just did on the A minor chord there. So we're going to pluck the chord like so, and then we're going to slap. Pluck, slap, pluck, slap, pluck, slap, pluck, slap, pluck, slap, pluck, slap.
So what I recommend doing from here, particularly if this is a new technique for you, is just spending 30 seconds plucking and slapping on the A minor chord, and then spending 30 seconds on the E minor chord doing the same thing. And you might want to repeat this 5 times or 10 times until you get a bit more comfortable with the technique. And look, you might want to do that for the next 3 or 4 days before you move on to these slightly more advanced exercises.
And the reason that we're changing between those chords is that obviously on the A minor, our thumb is on the A string there. So we just want to get the thumb used to going from A string, slapping on the E string, and then of course when we go to the E minor, we want to get the thumb used to picking the low E string and then slapping it there. Okay, now what we want to do is get used to moving between the two chords. So what we're going to do, we're going to pluck and slap twice on the A minor and then move through to the E minor. Okay, now we're going to move on to exercise number 2. The purpose of this exercise is we want your thumb to get used to slapping while your left hand is moving around the fretboard a wee bit. So for this exercise, we're not going to start initially with any chords, we're just going to play single notes, okay? And all we're going to do is play something like this. Okay, so for this exercise, we're placing our first finger on the A string on the 3rd fret, which is a C note. Okay, now we're moving 2 frets to the 5th fret, and all we're doing is staying on that A string and putting our 3rd finger on the 5th fret, which is our D note there. From here, we're repeating the same pattern, but on the low E string. So 3rd fret, 5th fret. And of course adding the slap in between each note. So pick, slap, pick, slap, pick, slap, pick, slap, pick. So once you master this technique, of course, you can muck around with it and literally play any notes you want while slapping in between each note. Of course, you may want to change the notes to bar chords as well. Okay, great. So that's all there is to it. This is the very basic start to slapping on the acoustic guitar. Of course, there's many other techniques that you can add in there, which I will be making lessons about in the future. But first things first, get this technique down, practice. Even if you practice 10 minutes a day on those exercises, from there you can make up your own exercise. You can move around the fretboard. So if you're struggling with anything, whether it's this technique or other techniques that you'd like to learn to play, comment below and let me know.